let's talk about how you can build and maintain that hustler mentality. Let's get into it. Early on when I was starting here at MFG Tribe, I initially started out as a project manager. I came in, I had no previous project management experience when it came to dealing with a marketing agency. I used to work for the governor of Texas, so I handled big projects that were more events related and political related. Everything was last second. It was constantly changing. Details were changing, last minute changes, last second changes even. We were having to do changes on the fly. It was one of those that I really had to develop the right mindset and understand that everything is not going to plan and that you have to be able to pivot and move whenever a problem arises, whether that be a large or small problem. That mindset of I can't do it, any form of negativity of I can't complete this project is going to just be another hump that you're going to have to overcome. No matter how big or how complicated a problem might be, come at it as I can do this with help from others, I can do this with the strategy that I've put into place. It's all about the mindset. So when I first came and started working here at Milan Media, I had to adopt that learner's mindset. Even if I thought that I knew something, I came in going, I don't know anything and I'm here to learn everything. Because if you have and you adopt that mindset, you set yourself up for success and you set yourself up to learn and to really gain knowledge and information that you need to make these projects successful. All right, story time. We're gonna go into a brief story. I was a project manager, as I had mentioned here before I came into sales. Kyle Milan, our CEO, wanted me to really learn the intricacies of what we do and how we do it. But as a project manager, one of the big things that I learned right off the bat is that you need to listen. And listening is a very important thing, whether it comes into sales, whether it comes into marketing, whether you are a customer facing or you are not customer facing. Listening is very important. And the reason why I learned this very early on is because when I was going through projects and I see what things needed to be done, what deliverables need to be done, I tended to jump forward and try and get ahead on things before I was even really in contact with the client on what the next steps were. You have to really understand that just because you think that you know the correct way or the correct route that is going to be taken, that things with a client within the company that you work for are forever changing. And you need to make sure that before you take that next step, that you have all the information gathered and that the next step you're going to take is the step in the right direction. So listen, you just got a bunch of new projects. You just got a new job. You just got promoted within your sales or marketing position that you're currently in. And you realize, wow, I've got a lot of projects going. I have a lot of things that I have to do throughout the week. Start setting up your time management strategies. The 80-20 rule is one of those perfect rules that everybody should realistically know and they have heard. Focusing 80% of your time on the things that are important and 20% of your time on the things that supplement those. So going in and making sure that you're focusing 80% of your time on high impact tasks. If you're a sales guy, that could be your reach out, that could be your follow up. If you're a marketing person, that could be campaigns. If you're an engineer, it could be developing a new process for a project. So within that time management strategies, making sure you're not just blocking time for things that you need to do, but also blocking some time for you to sit down and think, for you to sit down and strategize, for you to plan your next steps. Because if you don't sit there and strategize and put that time aside, you're never going to get that opportunity to think, and you're always going to be on your back foot. If you have a busy schedule, you need to make sure that you're making that time. Make sure that you're looking at the things that are within your schedule and realistically going, is this important that I need to do, or is this something that is just supplemental, that is not as important as the strategy aspect going into it? With that mentality of going in and wanting to win and always want to be hustling, you have to develop resilience. You have to understand that rejection is a constant day-to-day thing that you're going to deal with. Again, whether you're in sales, whether you're in marketing, whether you're in engineering, whether you're whatever position that you hold, you're going to have to deal with rejection, whether that be rejected deal, whether that be rejected on your idea, whether that be the idea that you've brought forth is being pushed back. Resilience is important, and understanding that you are not the main character. There are many different things that go into a decision, no matter what the decision is, and understanding that they're not saying necessarily no to you. Now, if you haven't done the right research and provided the right sort of information, that could be the reason, but also they might not be saying no to you. They could be saying no because of outside factors that have come into play that, again, I've touched on before. Those are things you can't control. So one of the things that I found was really important when I was trying to develop my inner resilience, I was a sales guy. I came in Whenever I was first coming into sales, I would get agitated when I would lose a deal. I would get agitated when we would lose a deal to a competitor because I would go, they suck and we are better. And I never understood, that there are different aspects, again, those outside variables that you might not understand, but that there are different things in there and that you can't take it personally. You can't take the losses too personally because it is going to damage that hustler mentality because you're going to focus too much on your losses and not enough on your wins. So making sure when you do take a loss and you do get a no, or something doesn't go the way that you're wanting it to, that you have some sort of recovery routine, whether that be taking a step back, if it's in the middle of your day, taking a step back, meditating, taking some deep breaths, maybe walking outside a little bit, whatever it might be, having some sort of routine that gets you back into that focus, that hustler mentality, making sure that those losses don't hang over your head for too long, because we all know that if you focus too much on the negative, that's all you're going to focus on. So focus on the positive. If you get a no, take it and go, this is something that I can learn from. Sales is just one of those things. You're either born with it or you're not. You realistically can't sit there and go, I'm going to learn sales, because sales is one of those skills that you develop all throughout your life. Whether that be, if you're an outgoing individual, that could be one of the things that you go, hey, maybe I am ready for sales, I'm outgoing. If you're not one of those outgoing, you have a hard time reaching out and really talking to strangers. It's not that you can't go into sales. I would just say that you won't be as successful as others. There are things that everybody needs to sit there and go, what am I good at and what am I not good at? If you're not good at going out and engaging and building relationships and engaging with new people and talking with people outside of your comfort zone, sales is not for you. Go and focus on something else. I guarantee you there's something that you could blow me out of the water in and everybody else out of the water in. But if you're someone that can go out there and build those quick relationships, is out there on the golf course, is out there when you're out eating dinner and you're meeting new people and you build those relationships very quickly, sales is for you. Get into it. I promise you it's a lucrative thing, and it's something that everybody, every company, every institution needs to utilize, whether they are selling a product or a service, or they could just be selling themselves. Having sales as a skill is awesome, but sometimes it's not something that you can really develop. How did I find out that I was good at sales? I was always a talker. When I was in elementary school, middle school, high school, I was always one of those that was talking. I would always get in trouble in school because I was always talking to my neighbor, talking to the new kid, talking to somebody. Not necessarily that I wanted to be the popular kid, but I wanted to have as many friends as I could, because having friends and building those relationships is something that I enjoy. And now there are people out there that don't do that. But when I was building those relationships from a young age, when I was in high school, people always used to joke, you should go into sales. I never wanted to. I never saw the glory in going into sales until I became an adult. I went to school for finance. I went to go be a finance major. And even throughout college, when I was doing presentations, all of my professors would go, you're going to be a great sales guy. I mean, in high school, I was sitting there, I was working at Whataburger. For those of you that don't know what Whataburger is, it's our Texas Burger King. It's our Texas McDonald's, except for it's better. So I used to be a fry chef back there. I used to be cooking the burgers, putting them together. And I really realized when I was sitting back there going, this is not something that I want to do for the rest of my life. This is not something that, what I deemed as a winner's mentality or hustler's mentality is sitting back and cooking and flipping burgers for the rest of my life. Now, there are some people out there that are perfectly content with that, and that's absolutely fine. The mentality that I had, I wanted to go and hustle. I wanted to be important. I wanted to be a decision maker within a company. And I knew that in order to do that, I had to take certain steps. So even before I was in sales, I went to college for a finance degree, and I came out and I started, working for a financial institution. I realized that this was not something that I wanted to do. So I left and I started working for the governor. It was just one of those random jobs that happened. And as I worked for the governor, I started developing skills that I really was able to use and utilize and get to that next step. And whenever I first started talking with Kyle here at Milan Media, he, had a plan the whole time to put me into sales, because even when I was interviewing for him, I was interviewing for one position as a project manager. And I didn't know until 3 or 4 months later that he, in that interview, decided right then and there that I was going to be his sales guy one day. And so he put me in the position to be the project manager, again, to learn the ins and outs, the intricacies, and what we do and how we do it, and then put me in the position in sales to really succeed and to flourish, because I knew the ins and outs and I knew what we do and how we do it for each client, so I could realistically speak to those problems that the client arose and brought up and close those deals. Alrighty guys, now you got a little look into how I developed my hustler mentality and how you can too. Whether you're just getting into sales and marketing, or you've been a part of it for 10 to 30 years or even longer, message me on LinkedIn. Be sure to follow, like, and follow Kyle Milan on YouTube and LinkedIn as well. We'll catch you on the next one.